You walked alone, not because you wanted to, not because you enjoyed it, but because you had to. There comes a point in life when staying feels heavier than leaving, when begging for understanding feels smaller than walking away. So you walked alone. They didn't think you would. They thought you'd stay. They thought you'd adjust. They thought you'd tolerate just a little more. You always had before, but something inside you shifted, quietly, gradually, irreversibly. And when you finally turned your back, everything changed. At first, it didn't look powerful. It looked lonely. Empty phone, quiet evenings, no validation, no applause, just you and your thoughts. Walking alone sounds strong in quotes, but in real life, it feels terrifying. You questioned yourself. Did I overreact? Was I too sensitive? Should I have tried harder? Those questions don't leave easily. They echo at night, but you kept walking, because deep down you knew you weren't asking for too much. You were asking the wrong people. And once that truth settled in your chest, everything changed. When you walk alone, something strange happens. You start hearing your own voice again. Not the noise of opinions, not the pressure of expectations, not the constant need to explain yourself. Your own voice. And it sounds different, stronger, clearer, unapologetic. At first, people laugh. They'll be back. They can't do it alone. They always return. They mistake history for destiny. But you didn't return. You didn't text. You didn't chase. You didn't break. You kept walking. Slowly, respect replaced doubt. Walking alone builds something inside you. Discipline, because no one is watching. Resilience, because no one is clapping. Clarity, because no one is influencing. You stopped sharing plans. You stopped announcing goals. You stopped needing approval before making decisions. You moved in silence, and silence is misunderstood power. When you walk alone long enough, fear changes. At first, you fear losing people. Then you realize something deeper. You were afraid of losing comfort, not people. And comfort is not loyalty. Comfort is familiarity. There's a difference. Everything changed the moment you realized you could survive alone. That realization is dangerous, because once you survive alone, you stop tolerating disrespect just to avoid loneliness. You stop shrinking just to fit in. You stop negotiating your worth. People felt it. Your energy shifted. You weren't as available, not as reactive, not as desperate to fix things. You were calm, and calm unsettles those who rely on your chaos. You stopped arguing. You stopped proving your intentions. You stopped defending your name. You let them believe what they wanted. It confused them, because when you walk alone, you don't need to win arguments. You win distance. Distance changes perspective. You started seeing patterns. Who only called when they needed something. Who disappeared when you struggled. Who supported you publicly but doubted you privately. Walking alone gives you vision, and vision changes everything. You began investing in yourself. Mindset, health, focus, discipline, not for revenge, for stability. And stability is more powerful than revenge will ever be. The same people who doubted you started watching you quietly, because walking alone does something most people fear. It proves you don't need them. Needing someone gives them power. Choosing someone gives you power. You learn that difference. Everything changes. You became selective, not cold. Selective. You stopped giving access easily. Time became valuable. Energy became guarded. Peace became non-negotiable. Walking alone doesn't make you heartless. It makes you precise. You choose conversations carefully. You choose environments intentionally. You choose people wisely, because you know what it costs to rebuild yourself. There were nights you almost turned back. Moments of doubt, moments of nostalgia. But nostalgia lies. It edits the pain and highlights the comfort. You remembered the full picture. You kept walking. Something unexpected happened. Opportunities appeared. New people entered your life. Better conversations, better respect, better energy. Because when you walk away from what drains you, you create space for what strengthens you. Everything changed. Not overnight, not magically, but gradually. Your posture changed. Your tone changed. Your standards changed. You no longer feared being misunderstood. You feared betraying yourself. And that shift is everything. People who once underestimated you started adjusting their tone, started respecting your space, started noticing your growth. Not because you demanded it, because you embodied it. Walking alone taught you something powerful. You don't need a crowd to be confident. You don't need validation to be valuable. You don't need approval to be worthy. You didn't lose people. You lost illusions. You lost the illusion that everyone who smiles supports you. You lost the illusion that loyalty is permanent. You lost the illusion that comfort equals connection. Once illusions fall, clarity rises. Now you move differently, not loudly, not arrogantly, but intentionally. Every decision has weight. Every boundary has purpose. Every silence has meaning. You discovered your own strength. You discovered your own limits. You discovered your own standards. Everything changed. Because you changed, you no longer chase. You attract. You no longer beg. You decide. You no longer fear distance. You create it when necessary. Walking alone wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The beginning of discipline. The beginning of self-respect. The beginning beginning of emotional independence. And here's the part nobody expects. The same loneliness that once scared you now feels peaceful because it's chosen, not forced. You realize something powerful. You were never truly alone. You just hadn't met yourself yet. You start outgrowing places that once felt like home. The same rooms feel smaller. The same conversations feel repetitive. The same jokes feel forced. Not because you changed into someone else, because you finally grew into yourself. Growth is uncomfortable, not just for you, for everyone around you, because when you evolve, you become a mirror, and mirrors make people nervous. They see your discipline, and it highlights their excuses. They see your calm, and it exposes their chaos. They see your focus, and it reveals their distraction. You didn't preach, you didn't lecture, you just moved differently, and that difference was loud. Walking alone sharpened your awareness. You began noticing energy shifts. Who clapped quietly, who clapped loudly but meant nothing, who went silent when you started winning. Success doesn't change people, it reveals them. There was a time you would have chased those who pulled away. Now, you let them, because you learned something powerful. If someone feels threatened by your growth, their loyalty was always conditional. Walking alone taught you emotional math. Less noise, more clarity, less people, more peace, less validation, more confidence. You stopped over-explaining. That was a big one. You realized something simple. People who truly respect you don't require constant justification. So you stopped justifying, stopped proving, stopped defending. You let actions speak, and silence finish the sentence. Everything changed when you stopped reacting immediately. You started pausing, observing, responding instead of reacting. That pause is power, because reaction is instinct, response is control, and control is rare. Walking alone forced you to sit with your own flaws too. Let's be honest, it wasn't just them. You had habits to break, people-pleasing, overthinking, fear of abandonment. You faced those in the dark. No distractions, no noise, just truth. That truth was uncomfortable, but necessary. You learned that loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of alignment. You stopped feeling lonely in empty rooms. You started enjoying your own company. Your thoughts became clearer. Your standards became stronger. Your decisions became firmer. When you no longer fear being alone, you become extremely selective. And selectiveness looks like arrogance to those who can't meet your standards. But you don't shrink anymore. You don't dim your energy. You don't soften your voice to make others comfortable. Not out of ego, out of self-respect. You were never asking for too much. You were asking from the wrong circle. Walking alone reset your baseline. You no longer tolerate half-effort. You no longer romanticize potential. You no longer excuse repeated behavior. Consistency matters now. Actions matter now. Energy matters now. There's a calmness in you now. A steady presence. Not easily shaken. Not easily impressed. Not easily attached. That calm didn't come from ease. It came from surviving storms quietly. You learned that storms don't last, but the lessons do. There were moments people tried to return. Soft messages. Casual check-ins. Hey, just wanted to see how you're doing. But you heard the tone beneath the text. Curiosity, not care. You responded politely, but briefly, because access now requires alignment, not history. Walking alone showed you something critical. History doesn't equal entitlement. Just because someone knew you before doesn't mean they deserve you now. You're not the same person. That's intentional. Everything changed when you stopped trying to be understood by everyone. You realized clarity is internal, not external. You don't need applause to validate progress. You don't need agreement to justify decisions. You don't need approval to move forward. Walking alone rewired your confidence. Before, confidence came from external reassurance. Now, it comes from internal certainty. That's different. That's stable. You trust your instincts more. You leave faster when something feels off. You speak up sooner when something crosses a line. You detach quicker when patterns repeat, because you remember what it felt like to ignore red flags. Never again. Everything changed when you stopped fearing loss, because loss once meant emptiness. Now, loss means space. Space for better habits, better people, better alignment. You walk into rooms differently now. Not loud, not seeking attention, but grounded, secure, centered, and people feel that. Some admire it, some envy it, some misunderstand it, but none of it shakes you, because when you walked alone, you stopped performing, you stopped pretending, you stopped filtering yourself to fit expectations. You became authentic, and authenticity is intimidating. You don't overshare anymore. You don't rush connections. You don't chase chemistry. You evaluate character. That shift alone changes everything. Walking alone didn't harden your heart. It strengthened your backbone. You still care, but wisely. You still love, but cautiously. You still trust, but slowly. And that balance came from walking through discomfort without escape. Now, when challenges appear, you don't panic. You don't spiral. You assess. You adapt. You act. Because you've already proven something to yourself. You can survive alone. You stop accepting situations that make you feel alone. Even when surrounded by people, everything changed. Because you changed. Not loudly, not dramatically, but permanently. You walked alone. You didn't just find strength. You found standards. You found clarity. You You found peace. And the most powerful part, you're no longer afraid to walk alone again if necessary. That's freedom.